Welcome, everyone, to the global gathering Shamanism for Inspired Action, from vision to creation. This event is designed to share how shamanism can inspire actions and enrich our lives, our communities, and Mother Earth with deep love, compassion, gratitude, and joy. Shamans are the torchbearers of their inner light, taking action motivated by a deep sense of purpose. Shamanism is a way to tap into creative inspiration that comes from within, the spirit we are, that will lead us to take authentic steps towards what our hearts and souls desire most. We will discuss what's possible when the invisible realms are acknowledged and honored, when nature is loved and celebrated as part of ourselves. We'll explore how surrendering to helping spirits, to our ancestors, can help support our action. Shamanism provides a space to deepen our inner knowledge so that new ideas, new thought, and pathways can emerge. In a time when it can be tempting to define ourselves solely through external concepts, your participation at this global gathering will inspire you to reconnect with your inner wisdom and to act in alignment with your spiritual source. So it is with gratitude and great joy that I welcome everyone to be part of this global gathering. I'm Celine Roche, I'm your host for this event, and today I'm very happy to introduce you to Emma Fitchett. Emma, welcome so much. Thank you for being with us today. It's an honor to have you. And for those of you who don't know so much about you yet, I'm going to say a few words about you and your work. So Emma is a plant spirit healer, a shamanic teacher, and author. She holds a master's degree in the preservation and development of wisdom culture and the art of liberation in the Tibetan Buddhist Mayan tradition. Writing your thesis on understanding the nature of the self through lucid dreaming. She's been initiated into indigenous healing and magical lineages of the British Isles and the Ecuadorian Amazon. And she's the holder of the white serpent lineage, and she's also a geomancer, psychic surgeon, and entity removal specialist. So Emma is a founder of the School of Natural Esoterics, the Plant Consciousness Apothecary, and runs a remote healing practice. And Emma's book Journeys with Plant Spirits is published by Inner Tradition. Again, thank you so much. Can't wait to hear about your point of view on the conference today. And your topic will be balancing the energy body with plant spirits for personal and spiritual evolvement. So again, welcome, Emma. And I'm going to start with a question about what does it mean for you, inspired action? How does it resonate with you?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me onto your summit. It's an honor. Inspired action. So, as the as human beings, we sit between the divine and Mother Earth, and so inspired action for me comes from it's a combination of our higher self, our super consciousness, a combination of super consciousness and nature, and so together when we combine those two aspects, then we can become inspired, and that's where we're living from the heart and receiving those downloads, that information from nature and from the divine realms, and putting them into action. That's inspired action for me.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. And how cleansing and balancing the energy body, auric field is fundamental to the shamanic path. And in your healing practices, you assist your client with this. Can you explain what kind of blockages you find and how they manifest,
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, first of all, cleansing the energy field is fundamental to any psychic, shamanic, or healing practice or process, because whatever is in our energy field will affect our mind. The energy field, the mind, the body, they're all one. But so therefore, anything in the energy field will affect the mind. So blockages, toxicities, attachments, etc., they will create false thoughts, they'll create dark thoughts, they'll create kind of thought loops, anxiety, all the kind of like more challenging emotions and lower vibrational emotions. And these can be detrimental to our work. So of course, any kind of inner visionary work that we're doing, or any psychic work, could be infiltrated by anything in the energy field. So we'll kind of prevent those messages getting through, or that inspiration to come through. And so the types of blockages that we can get in the energy field are things like, the energy field itself can become damaged. We can get splits in the energy field. The energy bodies can become out of alignment when we've had, say, anesthetic that can knock the energy bodies out of alignment, or shock and accidents. And we can get splits and tears and holes in the energy field through things like accidents and various traumas, even harsh words, actually, and intrusions from other people can cause splits and holes, or chemicals, or substance abuse, all the kind of things that we shouldn't be doing to ourselves, basically, and things that are not harmonious. And so in terms of blockages in the energy field, when these range in a kind of a hierarchy, if you like, of kind of like detriment. We can just pick up other people's emotions. They can kind of land in our energy field, especially if we're trauma bonding with somebody, and we can create entities ourselves, and we can pick them up from other people. So, for example, if you have a wound around self-worth, a lack of self-worth, then if you keep feeling that emotion of a lack of self-worth over and over again, then you're creating like a trapped emotion in your body, but also in your energy field. And over time, because that's on the astral plane, and the astral plane is sentient within itself, what happens is the more you feed that kind of trapped emotion with energy, with more of that lack of self-worth emotion, then that trapped emotion can become more conscious and becomes conscious of itself. And so you've created a lower astral. And then over time, it can actually leave, jump to other people. You can pick other people's up. And then, of course, you've got your kind of even more detrimental entities that can enter the energy field and attach in. And usually they're just attached in. They're not, you're not necessarily possessed. That's quite rare. Other kind of things in the energy field can be curses and hexes and things that are a little bit more detrimental. Black magic, we can come across that, especially with kind of interacting with, tribal communities that we don't understand. That can happen. And a lot more people are practicing things like witchcraft and things like that nowadays, and don't necessarily have that grounding in ethics, or haven't studied a wisdom culture, and so they're not quite sure where the boundaries are between the light and dark magic, and so grey magic gets kind of like created, and so that can land in the energy field as psychic attack. So there's many types of blockages that we can find in the energy field.
And can you tell us more about how your work manifests, in terms of cleansing and balancing? How do you?
Yeah, okay. Well, I work with a spirit ally team, and so how I work, mainly plant spirits, and so how I work is that I get to know each plant over a long period of time, usually about a year, where I grow the plant, I watch it evolve through the cycles of seasons, I create an essence and I meditate with the plant, I do plant diets with it. I journey with the plant, and I get to know the spirit of the plant. I meet the spirit of the plant, and and see if it wants to work with me. And I find out what it can actually do in terms of its shamanic capabilities, its kind of spiritual healing abilities. And so each of my spirit allies do particular jobs, and so I cleanse and purify and bring back the integrity of my clients' energy fields, and I do this remotely. So my clients are all around the world. And so when I call in a higher self aspect of my clients into my healing space, then I work on, the universe is holographic, and so I only need to call in an aspect of the astral body into my healing space, and I can work on the whole energy field from that. And so then I will look at the energy field, establish where the blockages and toxicities are, and then I have an ally who can go in and do the particular jobs, whether it's an extraction, whether it's a kind of a cleansing, a purifying of any toxicities, sealing of any holes, removing cords of attachment, soul retrieval, and so then just completely cleanse my clients' energy fields and then send them home for reintegration, and that takes about 4 weeks to integrate. And and mainly it's plant spirits that do those individual jobs. So it's really a co-creation, a conscious co-creation with my team.
Beautiful. And what effects do attachments that people can have and toxicities in the energy field have on psychic awareness and connection to the divine? How can it be a stop to that connection with the divine?
Yeah, so well, firstly, some people naturally have some inbuilt fear around connecting to the spirit realms, because some people have had negative experiences or been told when they were a child, or it's just your imagination. It's kind of like our psychic abilities were kind of hammered out of us as we grew up. But actually, it's just a natural part of being human. And the more we cleanse our energy field and the more we immerse ourselves in nature, the clearer our energy field becomes, and the easier it is to communicate to those unseen realms, and the cleaner our connection. And so, because we are so intimately connected to the astral plane of consciousness, the emotional realm, we have that lower astral realm, that the part of the astral space that is it contains all the kind of the aspects of ourself that we're ashamed of, that we hide away from. And that plane of consciousness, that astral plane, has existed since humans began to think. And so we've created that level of consciousness. And so, but the lower vibration of that, which Rudolf Steiner called the eighth sphere, and all cultures and traditions have a different name for it, but just for ease of understanding, I'm referring to it as the astral plane, which is a fairly modern term, but it's the imaginal realm. If you look at old texts, and they call it the imagination. It's the imaginal realm, which is, of course, the imagination is not what we've been taught it to be. It's our creative life force. It's like, how we manifest. It's like how we create. And it's how we journey into other realms. We go through that realm, that imaginal faculty. So if we've got things in our energy field, when we're journeying into the astral plane and we're doing any remote work or any psychic work or any even divination like tarot, or anything like that, healing work, if we have something in our energy field, particularly an entity, then we're going to meet that in the astral plane. And if you're not aware of yourself, if you don't know yourself very well, you might think it's separate to you. And so you might not know, you might think it's your clients, or you might think it's, somebody else is around you, or, and you might not recognize it as your own. And so even though, ultimately those beings are both us and not us at the same time, because they exist within themselves, but, humans have created them, they're attached to us somehow. And so if we haven't resolved our traumas, our kind of big issues in life, then more than likely we've got entities attached to our energy field who want to feed off the unresolved energy that's being created. That kind of like, that's, like I said, that lack of self-worth that's still being generated entities will want to feed off that. They live on that lower astral plane of consciousness. And even the Egyptians, they had initiations, how to overcome that plane of consciousness, the abyss, they call it. We have to pass over it when we die. So it's good we get to know it, and we get to know how we experience it, and what aspects of us live on that plane of consciousness. Because if we don't, we actually don't know when we're receiving information and we're receiving psychic messages, even connecting to our own spirit team. We can't be 100% sure that what we're getting is truth. It might seem like truth, and in that lower astral level of consciousness, there's a lot of false light. So people think they're connecting up to the higher astral or even higher spiritual frequencies, but actually they're just blocked at the astral plane of consciousness because they've got something attached into their energy field that's pretending to be Archangel Gabriel or whoever they connect to. So there are many angels in the lower astrals pretending to be angels, entities. So there's a lot of trickery in that plane of consciousness. So we really have to know ourselves really well in order to not, the old adage of know thyself, is really important in our shamanic practice. Because if we don't know ourselves, we don't know what we're actually encountering when we're doing these. We don't know for sure what we're encountering when we're doing these shamanic processes. So the more we cleanse our energy field, the clearer our mind becomes, the higher vibration our energy field becomes. So we're able to connect to those higher vibrational beings. Because if we are, and planes of consciousness, because if we've got stuff weighing down our energy field, if we're taking a lot of allopathic medicine, for example, that really kind of weighs down the energy field, or we're not being honest, we tell a lot of lies to ourselves or to others, that creates shadow, and so we're lowering our vibration. So really living ethically, cleansing the energy field and therefore cleansing the mind, we raise our vibration, and then we can connect to the higher beings and divine inspiration.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is crucial for the practice, and to be aligned with the spiritual source. We can, that's true. That's true. And this is in practicing that we learn that as well. And all the work that you mentioned about knowing ourselves, and that's what the practice invites us to do as well, is to get to know each other. This is each other, yes, but first ourselves. It's a way to get to know really deeply who we are. So thank you for those very important insight. I really appreciate that input, Emma. Thank you. And can you explain a little bit more? So you shared just before how you work with plants. Can you go a little deeper into that, and how do you work with them?
Primarily, one of the ways I get to know plant spirits is through plant initiations. So or plant diets, they're called. So this tradition kind of comes from South America, but we have this tradition in Europe, I'm sure, where particularly perhaps as in the witches and the shamanic traditions, where we would spend a period of time only with one plant to get to know it on an extremely deep level, connect to its spirit and receive healing or wisdom or insights, guidance. And so that's what I do. I've spent the last 12 years just being initiated by plant spirits. And so I set aside a period of time. Usually, we all have busy lifestyles, don't we? And so we have to kind of, be realistic about what we can actually achieve. So if I'm kind of taking a group through a plant initiation, it will be 3 days, and we'll just fast and only consume that plant for 3 days. And of course, I learnt this from my teacher Pam Montgomery, and but it just, when I learned it, it just came alive in me. It made so much sense to me, and so I've just continued doing it like for many years. because you just receive so much from the plants when you do this, when you honor the plants in such a way that you dedicate your time to them. You know, even out of your busy lifestyle, you're dedicating your time. And when you set a container like that, you're creating a shamanic process. So, and so it's really important to finish, you know, when some people can abandon their plant diet, and that's not so good, because there's really something important in the completion process. You know, it's like that if anyone's done a journey in one of the many ways you can do it around the medicine wheel, you know, completing a medicine wheel process, it's like something else gets ignited. There's like this kind of completion process kind of gift at the end, and it can come in many ways. But doing a plant diet for a period of time, so I would set usually a lunar cycle, and so from a new moon to new moon, for example, and I won't fast for that amount of time, but I will take the essence of that plant, perhaps the tincture of that plant as well, or the teas of that plant, if it's edible. If it's not an edible plant or tree, I'll just take the essence of it, but every single day, and I'll set time aside to meditate with it, journey with it, meditate with it, you know, the live plant out in nature, dream with it, be creative with it, dance with it, you know, just see how that plant spirit moves through me, what healing and insights it brings to me. And of course, the plant spirits don't just work on the inner planes, they work externally as well. So I've just finished an initiation with the dulse seaweed, you know, and I took a group through that across a month. And so that particular plant spirit shows us the aspects within us where we self-abandon, where we don't stand in our truth. And then it creates the experience in your external world and the opportunity for you to heal it and for you to change that pattern. So that's a very direct plant spirit. It's quite a masculine energy. And there are other plant spirits who are like that as well, like mugwort, Artemisia vulgaris, who is very direct and very clear like that as well. But all of the plant spirits teach in different ways. And so spending a month with a plant spirit and dedicating that period of time to them, you know, you will, basically everything that happens to you across the course of that month, you have to view it through the lens of the plant spirit. So you get to know it very well. There's no separation between your external life and your internal life when it's working with the plants. And so you just become you're just rewilding yourself, really, you know, and just rebalancing yourself. So nature always naturally wants to come back to balance, doesn't it? And so plants do that to us. They reflect our consciousness back at us so that we can see where the inconsistencies are, or the imbalances, or the unresolved things in our psyche that need kind of sorting out. Because when we don't resolve those dark parts of our psyche, those shadowy parts of our psyche, they are in our energy field and they act like doorways for entities and kind of toxicities to come in. And so once we kind of heal those aspects and shine the light of conscious awareness into those dark corners of the mind, then you know, those doorways aren't accessible anymore. We've kind of brought things out into the light of consciousness. And that's what plant diets do. And so over the course of these plant diets that I do, I'm just getting to know the plant spirits in a really deep, intimate way. And then because I work with them in a conscious, co-creative way, I'll be seeing how they've been working within me, what they've brought up for me to look at, how they've brought me healing, how they have taught me in different ways, and therefore how we could work together in my healing work, and how because the plant spirits themselves are evolving too, so they love working with us, and so it can be a very co-creative process. And so when you do these plant diets, and anybody can do them, you know, it's a very easy thing to do. Well, it can be quite challenging as well, because, you know, initiations do take us into a new way of being, and take us into a new reality, and take us out of our comfort zone. But the rewards are so great,
Yeah.
because we become enlightened in certain parts of ourselves. We become rejuvenated, we become deeper connection to spirit, etc., and deeper connection to the realms of nature. And so, yeah, it's such a beneficial way of working with the plants.
Oh, thank you. And earlier, so we were talking about blockages, and now you share about how, you learn and how the plant is a great teacher. So, what is the higher perspective of blockages, in energy field? Because we all have to work through things, right? As you
Mm.
explained, traumas, etc., past. So, how can those blockages help us to gain consciousness and to evolve towards higher consciousness?
Yeah, beautiful question. Thank you. Because the ultimate objective of plant spirit healing is to awaken our higher self, is to awaken and be more connected to that super consciousness aspect of ourself. And if we look at Rudolf Steiner as well, his understanding of the evolution of consciousness and the evolution of mankind is that we've given form to our astral self. If you look at people's astral body, it has form, it looks like them, or it can look, if there's unresolved things, it can look distorted, etc. However, the mental layer, the next layer of the energy field, the kind of like the finer frequency, the next stage of our kind of evolution is evolving this mental layer of our energy field, which just looks like a sheath at the moment. It doesn't have form. And so the more we bring healing to the astral layer of our energy field, the more we're able to access the mental layer of our energy field, which is our higher self, our unconditional love aspect of ourself. And the more we can access that part of ourself, we're evolving that. So we're kind of contributing to the evolvement of consciousness, the consciousness of mankind by doing this work. And so accessing our divine nature, this realm that we live in, this planetary sphere that we're living in right now, it's a realm of self-mastery. And so, yes, we be in service, but to be in service, we have to be able to master ourselves. And so that means that we can overcome our emotions without allowing them to rule us. We don't want to get rid of our emotions, absolutely not. We wouldn't be able to make decisions because all decisions are based on our emotions. And so we need our emotions because they make us human, but we don't want to be ruled by them. So as emotions arise, we can see what they mean, what they're trying to tell us. And so if we can master our emotions, we're pretty much getting on a good way to, that enlightenment, if you believe in that, but certainly to a higher level of consciousness and to evolving that mental layer of consciousness and giving it more form and structure. And so in plant spirit healing, the methodology that I teach is that when I do my healing, I step into being my higher self. So I'm actively working to give form to my higher self. So my higher self does the healing. And so, so I can picture my higher self. And so I'm really working on giving form to that higher self. And so we can, just constantly expanding our consciousness. And so if we can turn our traumas into gifts, if we can turn the more challenging aspects in our astrological birth chart, if we can transcend them and turn them into gifts, and some of them actually turn into psychic gifts as well, then we're really evolving our consciousness into a higher state and able to access even finer and finer vibrations of light.
Yeah, and maybe you could give a little bit more details about what is a higher self for you. We have maybe some people in the audience who are not familiar with the term, just in case. So higher self would be for you.
Yeah, okay. So many different traditions and wisdom traditions or indigenous cultures have different names for this aspect. So in Greek, it's the daemon. In Greek mythology, it's the daemon. In Rudolf Steiner, it's the second eye, and it's almost like it's like an enlightened version of us. But we've got this, it's our eternal spirit. So we've got this we've got this body and this personality made up of all the soul forces of Mother Earth, so earth, air, fire, water. And so that's what gives us even the personality in this lifetime. So we've borrowed our body and our personality from the earth, but the spirit that works through the body and soul, that aspect of us, that eternal spirit that travels from lifetime to lifetime or experiences our other lives, however you want to understand other lifetimes, maybe past is a bit too linear because they're still active within us now, so they're not exactly past, but that aspect that experiences and has a much broader perspective over different timelines, if you like, that eternal spirit for me is the higher self aspect.
Very good. And yeah, so that's something we can tend towards, something that has, as you said, a place in us, as the spirit that has no psychology.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure about that. I've not thought about that, but I'd say my higher self certainly makes decisions for sure. You know, it makes decisions because she can appear to other people in visions and dreams or journeys that I'm doing on my courses. So there's certainly some aspect of psychology in there, but not this kind of gross conceptual mind that we're used to thinking with down here. Absolutely, there's a big difference. There's a higher mind compared to this lower mind for sure.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much for all your precision and further details about that. It's important. And can you share some example of visions that you've received from a plant or a spirit you work with, and that you brought to life on this plane? Do you have an example? I mean, I'm sure you have many, but if there's one you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, I have many. Absolutely. You know, the plants are really creative. So they tell me, I just meditate with plants, and if I think, they tell me basically what needs to happen because they live on a plane of existence that's beyond or outside of time and space. And so they can see what needs to happen for the group that's coming, say, to take a course or to take a plant spirit initiation next week. So the plant spirit will tell me what needs to happen and even when. And so sometimes I'll be meditating, particularly in the winter. I spend a lot of time really going deep with the plants in the winter when I'm not working so much and the plants aren't out so much. Out in nature, I can't get out in nature, but I can take my essences. And so I can journey deeply. I really spend time dreaming the next year in during the winter. And so I'll receive a lot of visions, inspiration, etc. during those times. And so the plant spirits will tell me when things need to happen in the year. And then I'll look at the astrology and it'll just be kind of perfect. But then there's more kind of tangible things where, when I was creating the plant spirit, the plant consciousness apothecary, the plants tell me how the branding needs to look. They give me inspiration about how to create the vision, the visuals for that, and all of the visuals that I create for all of my for courses and my website and everything, that's channeled through the plants basically, or the plants are channeled through me for that. So they really help with creativity. And some plants are more chatty and creative than others, but yeah, there are many visions and creatives. Yeah.
Can you tell us your experience when you co-create with a plant and you follow what information the plant is giving you, what initiation you have to create, for your class, etc. So how does it land on you, and when do you know that it's right? Like, how have you learned? I mean, as you said, with cleansing and all that, you know where it's coming from, but could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so one of the key things when you're doing plant initiations or plant diets and getting to know a plant spirit is discovering and finding what is your unique connection to that plant. So every time you meditate or journey or ingest that plant or you meditate under it, you'll get a certain feeling. You know, it might be in your energy field, it might be in your body, it might be in your chakras. Sometimes if you know the plant well, that feeling might evolve to an image in your mind or a symbol. But there has to be a feeling attached to it. It's really important. It's not just something in your mind, a visual, it has to be a feeling. And so when you've got that feeling, for example, I work with foxglove as one of my main plant spirit allies, and for me, the feeling that foxglove gives me every time I take the essence or meditate with it is this run of energy that just goes up either side of my body. Or if I'm meditating in an oak tree, I'll just feel really grounded and expanded, and so I'll get this feeling that pulls me down and out. And so every plant spirit will create a different feeling in the body. And so during plant initiations, it's important to find out and what that is. And so if you started working with foxglove, it would be very different for you because we're all unique. We have unique energy fields. And so your unique connection to that plant would be different to mine. But that unique connection is really important because it's like your direct telephone line to the plant spirit, so that you know with surety and without doubt that when you call on the plant spirit to communicate with it through that unique connection and that frequency that you have agreed upon in your plant initiation, that's who you're speaking to. So this is why it's a great way to work with the spirit realm, because you know you're not getting infiltrated, because that is your agreed sacred frequency, if you like, the sacred sound that you are going to communicate through. So that's the kind of frequency through which the plant spirit can work. And so establishing that is key. That's a really important aspect of working with the plant spirits, because like I said earlier, we're so connected to this astral realm that we can easily get infiltrated. Our spirit ally team can very easily get infiltrated, and we might not know for a long time. But if we establish this unique connection, this telephone line between us and our spirit team, then there's not going to be any doubt about who we're communicating with. And so in that sense, the communication is really clear. I just literally open myself in mini sacred space. If I wanted to speak to foxglove, I would then I'd evoke that energetic frequency up either side of my body, and I'd ask to speak to foxglove to step into my sacred space, and I'd know it was foxglove. And I can see them on the inner planes as well. So then when I can see them step in, and I can feel them. Yeah, that's foxglove who I'm speaking to. And so the communication that is therefore just direct.
Yeah. You're showing how experience and practice is important.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. We have to put the time in. We can't be vague about these practices. We have to be really precise, because it's like with herbalism, you have to get the precise remedy for the precise issue going on, and everybody's different. So different plants might be used for different remedies for different people, because the emotions have to be taken into account as well, and the kind of the background of the person. And so it's the same on the energetic realm. The more precise we can be, the less vague, then we're not pulling in things, just asking, for example, to call on the light and pulling in light from outside of ourselves. Then it's like a wave coming in and anything can come in on that wave that is not compatible with your energy field and your frequency, and so might not be beneficial for you. So we have to know the frequencies that we want to call upon.
yeah, thank you. And could you tell us more also about what the purpose of communicating with plant, and why is it so important today in our world?
Yeah, so there are so many people who feel disconnected. We live in a very isolated environment now. Our families are all over the place, even our friends. Families living in different countries. Our friends are all in different countries, moving away for work. We're a very fractured society. And so when we connect to nature, we're really nourishing our soul on a level that we need to feel connected to something greater than ourselves. It's a spiritual thing. You know, we all need spiritual connection. And so we're communicating with the plants or nature in general. You know, it doesn't have to be plants. It could be other aspects of nature. It could be the other world. It could be landscapes. It could be the mountain. It could be the forest spirit. You know, there are many different aspects of nature, and connecting and being able to communicate with them. When you're seen, when even now it moves me to tears that when I'm seen by a plant spirit or a nature spirit, and it communicates with me and tells me something nice or tells me something beneficial or, you know, insightful, it touches you at such a deep level that it just completely shifts your paradigm. It completely, you know, it opens your heart, and it's just the most amazing, amazing experience. And so we need that. You know, we're so desperately in need of connection. This is what life is about, isn't it? We're social beings, and we need to be connected to both physical beings and other human beings, but also the unseen beings, and start to have that kind of like that respect and that partnership and that co-creation with the unseen as well. It's like it's what our ancestors did. And, you know, we can move back into that place. We just have to come into our hearts and come into a bit more of a reverential way of dealing with nature.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And with that being said, do you have any recommendation practices for our audience to try on? Literally.
Yeah, sure. Well, you know, doing plant diets, just spending some time, setting yourself a period of time where you only connect to one plant or tree, you know, and every day go and set that container of time is really important, because that plant spirit needs to know how much time it's got to work with you, and having an intention. All plants and plant spirits work with intention. You know, we're part of the co-creative process, so we have to have an intention within reason, or what we'd like to achieve, or what we'd like to receive or experience from this plant diet. And so, spending time with the plant, meditating with it, etc. You know, and it might take a little bit of time to get to know and to connect, make that connection. It took me quite a while, actually, initially. And so, but just persist and keep going. At the end of the day, you're going to be spending time in nature, so you're going to be feeling good anyway, you know. It's a bit of a no-brainer. But yeah, but just spending that dedicated time with the intention to connect to the plant spirit, and it'll start coming through to you through dreams, through whatever way you perceive on the inner planes. But you will, you know, you will receive that connection at some point.
Yeah. So thank you for those insights and practices. Do you recommend to have like a real plant, or can it be an essential oil, or what do you recommend?
Ideally a live plant, you know, if you can get out into nature and or into your garden and communicate with the trees and the plants there, that's the best thing. You know, even the dandelions in the park, you know, they're there and they're there to communicate with. So you could go and just pretend you're sunbathing in the park and speak to a dandelion. But yeah, but being with the plants especially, but also getting them into you. So ingesting them, whether it's through the vibrational remedies of essences or through the teas if it's an edible plant. But really, yeah, getting them into you so that they can rebalance your energy field as well, and you can feel how they heal and what they do.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for your recommendation. Thank you. And with that being said, we are almost at the end of our interview. Is there anything you would like to share about inspired action, or receiving vision, how it is important to be grounded and knowing how we receive information, how important it is to then act and contribute to the whole? Is there anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, you know, we're living in very troubled times. You know, there's a lot going on in the world, and there's a lot going on in our families and in our communities. And so, the more we can stand in our truth and understand ourselves, the more in service we're going to be able to be. And so, the more we look after ourselves energetically, psychically, physically, then the more we can be in our truth. The cleaner our energy field is, the more truth we can embody. And so, really looking after ourselves actually is the first part of being in service in this world. And so, yeah, for me, it's not a selfish act at all. It's actually, in Buddhism there is beneficial selfishness, and this is it. We have to take care of ourselves first in order to be. We have to heal ourselves first in order to be a healer. We have to look after ourselves in order to look after others, else we're not going to be of much use. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your wisdom. And so there is a little surprise that you have for us. You have a beautiful gift. And the name of your gift is Psychic Hygiene. So it will be something that everyone can read and to document that you are sharing with all of us. Thank you so much. Can you say a few words about that?
Yeah, so it's just a nice PDF that's easy to read, but is full of information and techniques that you can use to keep your energy field clean. I've listed different plants for different things and different other techniques you can use. And so, yeah, it's a PDF full of kind of hints and tips.
Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And would you like to share about your upcoming programs? Any thing you'd like to share about your work that you're going to offer in the next few months?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've got some plant spirit initiations coming up this year here in Somerset in the British Isles, in England. So I'm working with foxglove and soul retrieval in June, a hazel tree initiation in August, and I've got a yew tree initiation in September. And I have an online course with the Shift Network coming up, and also I'll be running my own online courses as well. So yeah, lots going on.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So everyone, if you're interested in knowing more about Emma's work, you can go on the conference website. Every site that you have will be listed, and all your programs will be accessible from there, as well as your free gifts. So thank you so much again, Emma. Thank you for all your insight. It was very, very valuable. So
Oh,
thank you.
thank you. My pleasure for sharing. Thank you for asking me to participate.
You're very welcome. And thank you everyone for attending. Thank you so much.